Well, it's great to see everybody. It's great to be here. What's that?
I thought it was 4
Well, yeah, that's right. Yeah, wow, 4 more years. Well, we knew this would be exciting, so Tanette asked if she could come along today too, and
Oh, no.
well, Stephanie's excited because that means 4 more years of Walk with Walker, right? Yeah! So we're excited, and we just came off, obviously, about 2 weeks on the bus. Our family and the Clayfish family. In fact, actually, one of the weekends, last weekend, Ella and Violet were literally dressed up in their Halloween costumes. It was kind of fun, and I said it last night, but the funniest thing was I heard the results in the room where it's like NASA, all the TVs are up and the whole bit, and Ella comes over to me and she goes, "Yes, inaugural ball, I get to get a dress." Which is a whole new experience for us having 2 boys. So yeah, much cheaper. Yeah, I still have the same tux I had 25 years ago, which I'm going to wear at the inaugural ball. Exactly. Well, not the ruffles. No.
It is baby blue.
Actually, I just go with the James Bond. My kids might say the ends are too small or too big, but it looks pretty good. But we just wanted to begin by thanking you all. As I said, as I came in a little bit ago in the office early this morning with my office staff, between my staff here in the governor's office and this cabinet, and not only the people at the table, but all the deputies and assistant deputies, and the people that you represent, our whole team, this administration, we would not have won that election last night if it had not been for the extraordinary work of the really exceptional people that are here in this room today, and the people that you represent, the literally tens of thousands of public servants that we have in the state, and all of you here who help motivate them each and every day. So on behalf of not just Tanette and I, and Rebecca and I as your governor and lieutenant governor, but on behalf of the people of the state who benefit every single day from the good work that you and the people that are in each of your agencies do, thank you for that. We really appreciate it. And as I mentioned last night, one of the great things, literally I got the first announcement to me that one of the media outlets had called the election, and until I'd heard from one of my staff that they thought it was good, I'd never completely get ready to celebrate. But in fact, Josh was kidding me earlier about my reaction was, okay, now it's time to get back to work, right? And so people were asking me about that. Actually, one of the reporters asked me about that last night, Scott Bauer from the AP, and I'm like, well, we're ready. We're going to meet with the cabinet tomorrow. We're going to meet with our staff. We are ready to get to work. We're going to talk with Speaker Voss. We're going to talk with Senate Majority Leader Scott Fitzgerald. We're going to bring in John Nygren and Alberta Darling and the rest of the team. And now that they've added seats to their majorities, it's an even better opportunity, I think, going forward. Because one of the things we saw during particularly the last couple of months, and this said all along, the only poll that mattered was the one that was taken yesterday. But one of the things I was particularly proud of in those polls leading up to Election Day was people overwhelmingly in this state said, we get things done. We get things done. And so, to me, part of why I was obviously pleased with the election, but more than thinking about partying, although I do have to admit I had a couple Miller Lights last night, some Toppers pizza, a lot of Toppers pizza. Other than doing that, my focus really was on being here with you today, literally as I heard the results, because you're our team. You're the ones that help us make things happen. And so I'm excited to be here today. We've gone through this before, so we're kind of used to it. A similar type of experience in June 2 years ago with the cabinet, but we're ready to get to work. And one of the great opportunities we have, and I talked about this last night, it's something I clearly heard, Rebecca heard out of the campaign trail, that people want more effective, more efficient, more accountable government. We've done that over the last 4 years, but I know that we're not done yet, and I know you know that too, and so there's a tremendous opportunity to build off of that and to find ways to measure success, as I mentioned last night, not so much by how many people are dependent on the government, but rather on how many people are no longer dependent on the government. In fact, coming over today from Wauwatosa, I was thinking about that because, Reggie, I remember when we first, when you were first at Workforce Development, we were first talking about, kind of what's our vision. And it's an example I give not just for Workforce Development, but for us to think about now in our next term, is when we first sat down, you said, okay, what's your measure of success? What's your vision? What's your focal point? Because in the past, before we came in 4 years ago, at that particular agency, the measure of success in part was how many people were getting signed up for unemployment. I mean, literally, it was how many more people could get unemployment checks because there was a belief in the prior administration that that was bringing federal money into the state, and in an odd sort of way that it was almost economic development. It was bringing more federal money into the state. And I remember you asked, seriously said, well, that was their measure, what's yours? And that's where I said, my measure of success is just the opposite. In that particular case, how many people do we not have on unemployment anymore? Not because, and that was the key why, as I was just joking saying, I bring up the website all the time, jobcenterwisconsin.com, because our goal was to have fewer people on unemployment, not because we wanted them off for the sake of the money involved, but because we helped them find gainful employment in the private sector by getting those skills, getting the experience, getting the opportunities that they needed to succeed. And we've been tremendously successful in that. Now I think, for us, and we're going to follow up in more detail in a little bit here at the meeting about how to do that in the next legislative session, in the next budget process, and in terms of the things that we do in the transition going forward as we seek to further improve not only our administration as a whole, but each of our state agencies, is really sitting back and thinking, how do we take that to the next step? How do we really sit back? And one of the great opportunities of being where we're at right now with a transition, unlike even where we were 2 years ago, because we were still kind of midstream at that point. Now, with the logical time that you have the logical transition, either from one generation or one administration, I should say, to the next, or in this case, from one term of an administration to the next. Now is the critical time for us to be thinking in state government as a whole, but particularly in each of your agencies and within each divisions and each component of it, is to think as though we're just coming in new and taking a look at this as though you just walked in and you hadn't worked at all in state government before, and you were trying to look at your state agency and say, what does this agency do well? What does this agency need to work on? And what should this agency not be involved in at all? And I know, and it's true in anything in life. It's true in our own homes, it's true in our own lives, it's true in the private sector. It's going to be true here. And so one of the things I want to inspire to all of you in the cabinet today is for us as we look at working not only with our budget team on putting the budget together, but as we're going to be even more aggressive now, because I think we've got an even stronger ally in the legislature. We're going to find a way to work with the speaker, work with the majority leader in the Senate, but also work with individual members to say, if people said, hey, you're the people, you're the ones that get things done, let's find a way to do it quicker. Let's find to do it more effectively. Let's find a way to do it where we can, not that there'll never be a difference out here, but let's find a way to do that as effectively as possible. And let's take this time, particularly over the next 2 months, as we prepare to be sworn in again as your governor and lieutenant governor, let's take the time to look agency by agency, division by division, employee by employee, and really say, what do we do well? What do we need to keep doing? And what do we need to do better? And what maybe do we need not be doing at all? And I think this is our tremendous opportunity to look closely at that to provide more effective, more efficient, and more accountable government for the people of this great state. That's what they asked for. That's what we've been proud to give them for the last 4 years. I think this is our tremendous opportunity, not just to say, hey, we got affirmed, it's time to just keep doing things the right way. Rita and I have talked about this before with a lot of the businesses we visit. We're blessed in this state to have an abundance of multi-generational businesses. But one of the things I remember at one of the board meetings we talked about was that one of the critical mistakes that sometimes are made when a business is passed from one generation to the next, when mom or dad passes it to their son or daughter or multiple siblings, and one of the big mistakes that often makes it challenging for that organization to succeed is sometimes that next generation just treads water. They just do things the way that mom or dad did with the business before. And those are the businesses that typically, not only do they oftentimes fail, at least some of them, if not failing, they just at least don't grow. The multi-generational businesses that succeed are the ones where, when it gets passed from one generation to the next, that next generation, we were just at one the other day outside of Green Bay, where the two sons had taken over from their father, and who they took us to, that they took a risk. They were doing a huge expansion to expand the size and the capacity that they had at this particular business. Well, that was because that next generation came in and said, you know, we've been a great company, we've been a successful company, but we've got an idea how to make it an even better company. And they were willing to take that risk, reasonable risk, but willing to take that risk. And so what I would encourage all of you as part of our all-star cabinet is to go back after today's meeting to work with the rest of your management team, to work with your division heads and others out there and say, hey, we've got a golden opportunity here now. Just like we're not that you're handing it off, but the next term is kind of like the next generation of that family business. And you've got an opportunity to say, this company's been great up until now. In this case, the state's been great up till now. We've had a tremendous turnaround over the past 4 years. But what can we do? What innovations, what technologies, what new ideas can we bring to the table that will make each of our state agencies and collectively our state that much better? And so we're excited about the next few months and the next 4 years. And I just want to tell you again how much I appreciate you all being here. And before we give our press a chance to head out and file their stories,